are Fulani people doing in our forest? No come out to say that enough is enough. When you travel to the north, do you live in the... People must come out to say that enough is enough. When you travel to the north, do you live in the forest in the north? The Igbo people in Sabongeri in Kanu, are they living of course it's Hausa land, are they living in the forest? They came to the town, they work very hard, they build houses, they build mansions, they develop the entire place. Is that not what they do? What are Fulani people doing in our forest? Nobody can answer that question. They say that they're pastoralists. World aspiring to be a member of the UN Security Council, where you move cattle from place to place. Are you people well at all? You so-called Nigerians, are you normal in the brain? I'm asking you a simple question. Show me a country that aspires to be in the 21st century, moving cattle from place to place, telling me they're grazing. Which country is that? Please tell me. These are people they have prepared for you to sell you down the drain. By the time the Fulanis are done with you, believe you me, if you don't rise up now to fight for your freedom, by the time Fulanis are done with you, you'll be more useless than a Hausa peasant.
What are the Fulanis doing in our forests? This is a question that Nnamdi Kanu asked Nigerians, but they tend to ignore this question. They never paid attention to this important issue of security concern, and not until most recent, they are now asking across the southwest, the south-south, of course, the middle belt, the north central, the southeast as well, politicians never care to ask this question or to respond or pay attention to these questions. But the reality is staring at us now. Everybody's calling for safety. You've seen the southwestern governors forming an alliance to fight against the influx of terrorists in most recent times across the southwestern regions. But that seems to be coming late, because even after they met and as form an alliance, the onslaught, the killings still persist. It's still going on. In fact, taking unusual dimension, telling the whole world that they are just wasting time because the Fulani, the terrorists and the Islamic jihadists has already circumvented the entire look and cleanliness, especially the forest, the better forests of the southwestern regions. When Nnamdi Kanu was asking these questions, people failed to pay attention, but today they are the one now referring to the statements and the prophecy, if I will use the word, that come true today, that Fulanis will take over your lands and the terrorists will invade your lands, and you to be more horrible, terrible than what the outsiders experienced in the hands of the Fulanis. Is that happening today? That is the question. Can we attest to the fact that Nnamdi Kanu was not just 100% correct or politically correct, morally correct, religiously correct, but encompasses in all facets of human life and existence? He has proven, of course, to be excellently correct. Today, the question is now being posed on Nigerians. They are now asking, what are the Fulanis doing in our forests, across the Edo forest, across the southwestern forest beds? Everybody is crying. They could no longer go to farm. They could no longer harvest their crops, and the rest of them is history today. Of course, staring at us, we could no longer deny the reality. Now we owe Nnamdi Kanu unalloyed apology and unreserved apology and solidarity. This is a man who saw tomorrow or yesterday, but unfortunately, rather than appreciating and listening to him to understand his depth of wisdom and visionary of leadership exemplified in him, it's resort to call him names, conspiring with the Buhari's administration, the rest of them, the Fulanis, who are the perpetrators of this heinous crime. You know, Fulani gave this on arrival to all the Fulanis across the Sahel regions, across every country of the wilderness or desert regions, to come to Nigeria for the harvest is ripe, to come and take over what belongs to them, in quote, while the ethnic nationalities are just dozing and sleeping off, only to be caught unaware. But the reality is down on all asunder today. Of course, there is no longer hiding place for everyone. Now staring at each other. How do we get here? You are asking me? For probably you should refer, of course, back to the statement of Nnamdi Kanu, a great leader, a great man with passion and vision, not just for his people, but for the entire African continent, making Africa great. He's asking questions. What are the Fulani doing in a forest today? The same questions some monarchs are asking who has paid ransom for more than 3 times are giving eviction notice to the Fulanis. We no longer want you in our forest. You being in our forest is tantamount to annihilating us, and that is unacceptable. Perhaps some misconceived the position of Mazen and the Kanu that they are all usually pastorals. What kind of pastoral are they that necessitate them living in the forest? It's a choice they have made, and of course, for this choice, they should not use it to influence other peoples or attack them either. Just as the case is, if you claim you are pastoral, are you more pastoral than Hollander? Of course, the Holland that produces the Hollander we drink, the milk we drink, are you more pastoral than Brazil and every other part of the world that their that the external earnings annually runs into billions of dollars. Money they earn from exporting uh, the products from the milk, the hide and skins, the meat, from their pastoral activities. You cannot compare them. Fulanese are pastoral, but they could not even meet the local demands, let alone transporting or exporting them to the world that is in the need of them. And that is quite very unfortunate. Why? Because you fail to learn from those who have succeeded. Perhaps your only interest is not just the pastoral, but not just to make the economic, of course, wet or to take advantage of the market available in Nigeria and Africa as well. You are just interested in land grabbing and the rest of them to annihilate and take over, just as what is happening consistently unabated. It is a very worrisome development. Today, people are now asking, just as an average Igbo man, Yoruba man going to the north, we go and rent a house or purchase a land and build for his own family to dwell. Even though he's a farmer in the north, after farming, he retires to his house, of course, to have some realizations and calm the nerves. You cannot continue all the day. You are not animals, of course, and God have not created us either way. It is very unfortunate for anyone to justify the continued open grazing, which has been abandoned and abolished in this 21st century, except otherwise, those supporting it has ulterior motive of which they have come out publicly to make it. That is no longer a hidden secret today. The Islamization of Nigeria being engineered by the Fulani oligarchs for whatever reasons. Well, it is not my interest. Other Nigerians should be concerned about whatever is happening today. The opera, the unrest, and the rest of them should speak better than ever anyone may have anticipated. But then it is no longer a matter of doubt or argument, but the reality is staring at all us Sunday today. You could now attest and testify for yourself that indeed Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was not just a prophet, but a man with a great heart for humanity. Who saw yesterday today? Who saw tomorrow yesterday? But people, rather than observing along with him what he is saying and analyzing the same in the current security realities of time, they failed to fight him. But today, they are the one regretting, calling, and mobilizing people across the communities that the absence of Nigerian security operatives are fed to mobilize themselves and defend themselves. That is just a fulfillment of that. Of course, prophecy from the prophet Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. The beginning of reverence and acknowledgement of Nnamdi Kanu should be the beginning of wisdom. You get sense? Listen to him.